Questions will be in the chat box. Huh?
Okay, sure.
I'm starting the webinar.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for
Aksh-
Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for today's exclusive webinar on unlocking the power of NPS, its features and benefits. Myself, Akshita Jain from NPS product team of HDFC Securities, will be your host for today's session. And we are also excited to have Mr. Lyle Mendes from PCRA team to share his expertise on NPS and help our subscriber to understand how NPS is a great way to create a good retirement corpus. Welcome, Lyle.
Thank you, Akshita, for the invitation to discuss on such an important and interesting topic such as national pension system.
So before we will conduct the session, I'll also like to thank all our attendees who have taken time to join this webinar. I'm sure this webinar will be helpful for you and will clear all the doubts related to NPS, right, Lyle?
Yes, absolutely. So I believe this webinar will clear uh, a lot of doubts, give a lot of insights in terms of how you can utilize NPS not just as a tax saving tool, but also to generate healthy retirement corpus through which post retirements people can enjoy their pensions.
So, Lyle, let's help our subscriber to save tax and create a good retirement corpus. So, Lyle, currently there are many investment product available in the market. So, how let's explain our subscriber how NPS stand out in the market regarding retirement planning, because retirement planning is important as it is a human tendency for us that we don't start to think about our future. We think it's too far, but it is necessary that we start thinking of our future because time flies. So we need to start early, as soon as possible we need to do our retirement planning, and NPS is a great tool for doing a retirement planning.
Yes, so absolutely. You've covered the gist of what NPS does in this slide. Retirement planning, there is no right time to save. It should always start right now. Thinking in the future as well, right? Planning for it as soon as possible and planning for it from day one is always recommended. Gives it enough time to build a healthy retirement corpus, which NPS also allows through the power of compounding. And as I said, you prepare for emergencies in the future, which again NPS helps to alleviate once you start your NPS journey. And lastly, yes, in terms of diversifying your funds, NPS is a great tool because it gives you the right mix of asset classes and also keeps you invested for the long term.
So all subscriber between the age of 18 to 70 years can invest in NPS. Earlier, NPS was launched only for the government employees. Post that, the corporate model was introduced and the all citizen model. So the whole and sole purpose of creating an NPS for all citizen model is that the subscriber can create a good retirement corpus and you can enjoy your second inning of your life. So, like, let's help us subscriber to understand how NPS is a great tool and is it in safe hand. What is the NPS architecture?
Yes, so NPS has a very unique architecture. It is an unbundled architecture. So basically, every stakeholder in NPS has a specific set role and responsibility. Now, starting with the subscriber and employee of an organization and the corporate, right? Now, any request that is passed is routed through the POP. Now, POP here being HDFC Securities that helps you with your onboarding and servicing requests. Further which, once the POP receives the request, it is classified as a financial or a non-financial transaction. Financial transaction being your contribution towards the NPS is routed to the central record keeping agency and the trustee bank. Now, the central record keeping agency, that is Protean, we help with managing the entire backend platform, that is the record keeping and the issuance of the PRAN numbers. The trustee bank will manage the entire banking function across NPS. Now, once the funds are validated by the trustee bank, they will send it to the respective pension fund managers that the individuals have the freedom to select. Now, these fund managers are responsible for managing your investments and delivering the returns to the subscribers. Now, upon retirement, the same trustee bank will validate the funds and then transfer it to the annuity or the pension service provider. Now, these pension service providers are helping the subscribers to deliver or get their regular monthly pensions from. And you have the custodian. Currently, the appointed custodian is Deutsche Bank, who holds the custody of all the underlying securities in NPS. And you also have the NPS trust that monitors all the assets and funds. Lastly, this entire architecture is regulated by PFRDA, which is the government appointed body that monitors and helps to promote NPS and all the entities under it.
So to summarize it, Lyle, we can say that NPS is like a team wherein POP plays the role of a captain, and we have the supporting players like CRA, PFM, and the ASP and also trustee bank to keep everything secure and and transparent, right?
Yes, so you could say that every stakeholder holds a very important role. Your first point of contact will definitely be the POP, that is HDFC Securities. And then you always have the CRA that is doing the backend support to the POP and the subscribers.
So for opening an NPS account, Lyle, there is usually a confusion with type of account a subscriber need to open wherein they will get the tax benefit. So there's two types of account. One is tier one account and one is tier two account. What is the difference between both of these accounts?
So yes, so NPS is a very unique product where it gives you the option to open two accounts within your one plan. So you have the option to open your tier one account. Now this is mandatory whenever you open your NPS account, right? All the tax benefits that are there, right, are associated in your tier one account. Now you can be a mix, you can make a contributions. It can be a mix of your voluntary contribution to your tier one account, only the employer contribution if your plan is linked to your corporate, or you can do both your employer contribution and your voluntary contribution to your tier one account. Now the withdrawal that is there in the tier one account, this is a retirement account. So any withdrawals that you make pre-retirement are limited and there are certain conditions to it. Now, the minimum contribution to just open this account is 500, and in a year, at least one contribution has to be made. Maximum 1000 contribution has to be made to this tier one account to keep it active. Tier two, this is a voluntary account. Now, the advantage is it has no separate CRA or joining charges. You can open this account anytime while opening your NPS account or at any point later as well. Now, there are no tax benefits, but it gives you greater flexibility where you can make 100% equity allocation as well in your tier 2 account. Only voluntary contributions can be made to your tier 1 account, to your tier 2 account, and any withdrawal that you want, you can do 100% withdrawal anytime. Now, one great feature about the tier 2 account is you can transfer funds from your tier 2 to your tier 1 account as well, right? So this flexibility is accorded to the subscribers. And there is no frequency. You can make n number of contributions either to your tier 1 or your tier 2 account.
Okay, so basically we can say that while opening an NPS account, a subscriber will open a tier one account, while a subscriber do have an option called tier two account, which we can call as a investment account, wherein if you have any surplus amount, you can invest in tier two account, and as there is no such limitation on withdrawal part, you can just invest this week suppose, and if you think that you are getting good return, you can withdraw next week. The same is not in tier one account, as in tier one account you get the tax benefit, so we can term tier one as a tax benefit account and tier two as a investment account, right?
Yes, you could, in short, summarize it in that fashion. Yes.
Yeah. So talking about the tax benefit, which is an attractive point of NPS, which is basically a cherry on cake, as NPS do help in saving tax as well as you will get a good retirement. So let's help our subscriber. What is the tax benefit which they get on investing in NPS?
So yes, so NPS offers triple tax benefits if someone is part of the old tax regime, right? So firstly, in the old tax regime, if you have opted for that, you can invest voluntarily and you can make a contribution under Section 80 CCD 1D, where you can get a benefit of 50,000 as tax benefit. Now this is over and above the standard ATC limit, right? So this is over and above your standard ATC limit of 1.5 lakh. Additionally, if you have not fulfilled the 1.5 lakh limit, you can do so as well through NPS. And this same account, right, your same PRAN number can be linked to your employer as well, where you can make a contribution up to 10% of your basic, right? This is over and above your voluntary contribution that you have made to your NPS account. Now, through the employer, there is a capping where the max annual benefit that one can avail of is up to 7.5 lakhs. This includes the employer contribution towards PF, NPS, and superannuation. Now, if you have selected or opted for the new tax regime, then only and only the employer benefit is applicable under Section 80 CCD 2. Here, the limit is up to 14% of your basic salary. The upper capping continues to remain the same, that is 7.5 lakhs. Right? So you can avail tax benefits both in the old tax regime as well as the new tax regime, whichever you have opted for.
So whether you invest in voluntary contribution in old tax regime, you will get a tax benefit, and if you contribute through your corporate, you will get the tax benefit in the new tax regime, right?
Yes, absolutely. So both tax regimes have the benefits, and you are free to avail them depending on which you have selected.
Okay, so let's help our subscriber to understand it in a better way with an illustration which we have. If a particular subscriber is having a salary of about 15 lakhs, what is the tax benefit which he can avail in old tax regime and new tax regime by contributing both through voluntary as well as the employer contribution?
Yes, so now this is a very good illustration, or a very good sample illustration, I would say, defining the old tax regime and the new tax regime. So if you see here, the basic we have assumed as 7,50,000, and just above the blue box, you will see two deductions: the standard deduction of 50,000, and Section 80C is already fulfilled. That is 1,50,000. This can be either through ELSS, Sukanya Samriddhi, PPF, etc. Right? If you see in the blue box, right, there are two additional deductions. The first is under Section 80 CCD2, that is 10% of the basic, in this case 75,000. Plus additionally under Section 80 CCD 1B, it is 50,000, right? So this combined amount, that is 75,000 plus 50,000, will further reduce my total taxable income, thus enabling me my tax saving. Now, in the new tax regime, if someone has selected that, right, only and only the employer benefit is applicable, right? And this is up to 14% of your basic salary. So that gets reduced from your total taxable income, and thus you will be enabling your tax saving.
Okay. So we have talked about how NPS has an impact on investing in NPS. What is the tax benefit which you get in old tax regime and new tax regime? You have explained it beautifully. So over here we do get a question that where is the money invested? How does the money get diversified in NPS? So NPS is giving the flexibility to the subscriber. There are different choice available, right? Active choice, auto choice, and balanced life cycle fund, which is recently introduced. So in active choice, the customer can set his own percentage of contribution in different asset class, which we have like equity, corporate bonds, government securities, and alternate investment. So, and in auto choice, there is a ready-made basket which is available.
Yes.
So according to the risk appetite, you can Select your own basket, which is aggressive, moderate, or conservative, depending upon your risk appetite. And balanced life cycle fund is the recently introduced one. Can you please throw some light on that part, Lyle?
Yes. So firstly, there are four asset classes, right, in NPS. Now, this is where the freedom and flexibility is accorded to the subscribers. Under the active choice, you can bifurcate between equity, corporate bonds, government bonds, and alternate investment funds, where the maximum limit in equity is up to 75%. Then you also have auto choice. Auto choice gives you three further choices, right? You can go for an aggressive, moderate, or a conservative portfolio, as you rightly called, basis the risk appetite of a subscriber. Now, this has a reducing equity allocation post 35 years of age. And then comes the balanced life cycle, where it gives a greater balanced portfolio with a higher percentage of equity, and the tapering begins after 45 years of age. So it gives you a more balanced approach to long-term investments, giving the right mix of equity exposure and government bond exposure, that is government debt, right? Lastly, these choices can be changed four times in a financial year. So you can change your asset class or your investment options four times in a financial year. And if you have activated your tier 1 and a tier 2 account, you can have a separate investment preference for each of them. So here's where the real flexibility of NPS comes into action.
So talking about freedom, which we have given to our subscriber, as you have mentioned that you have an option to change your investment choice four times in a financial year. Similarly, like in mutual fund, if you don't like the scheme performance, you can change the mutual fund scheme, right? So here do you can change between active to auto or auto to balance. So if you're not getting the appropriate returns, you can change it. Similarly, like you have an option to choose between the investment class, you do have an option to choose about your PFM. So PFM is the pension fund managers who manages your fund. Like in mutual fund, we have different AMCs who manages our fund. Similarly, in NPS, we do have an option called PFM. Here also we have given the choice to the subscriber that if you don't find that the particular PFM is giving you the correct return or the return which you have decided, in that case you can change your PFM once in a financial year. The slides here is showing that what are the past return for 5 years about all PFM.
Yes. So again, the flexibility to choose your own PFM is there with the subscriber, where they can select the basis their comfort, the performance of the PFMs, right? So they have the option to select between 10 pension fund managers, and the information again to view the fund manager performances is available, I believe, on the HDFC Securities website as well as the NPS Trust website. So this is freely available in the public domain as well, where subscribers can have a look at uh, not just the PFM but also the asset allocation and make changes accordingly to their portfolio. And once in a financial year, as you rightly called, the fund managers can be changed by the subscriber.
So, in NPS, what happens is as early you start investing in NPS, you will get a good retirement corpus. As I've mentioned earlier, we generally have a human tendency that we don't think about the future. We think that we have time that we will think about about securing our future after some years, and now we spend our money. But instead of spending our money, we can invest in NPS, and for enjoying our second inning of your life, thus we don't get any pension as we are corporate employees, we can invest in NPS. So this is an illustration which can help you that as early you start, you will get a good retirement corpus.
Yes, so this is a slide that actually is very self-explanatory and very detailed, where at different age group, if you do the same investment amount on a monthly basis, how the returns are impacted. So someone starting at 25 with just 5,000 as a monthly contribution, And by the age of 60, they are able to generate a total corpus of 2.68 crore, whereas someone starting 10 years later is able to generate just 80.6 lakh. And someone starting at 45 is then able to generate a corpus of 22 lakhs. Uh, so here, where the power of compounding is amplified and shown how it works on a long-term basis, and how starting early and starting right now is very, very important for the ones who are probably later in their employment journey. They can always increase the amount of contribution. There's no limit on how much you can invest in NPS and generate maximum returns for yourself.
So it's never too late. Even if you have not started investing in NPS, you can start investing right now. I have mentioned the link in the chat box. You can open an NPS account within 10 minutes. You can just open the account and start investing. And if you are a corporate employee, you can also ask your HR to register for NPS and get a corporate tax benefit and invest in NPS. So this also is a self-explanatory slide wherein how starting in investment in NPS as early as possible is very beneficial for your good retirement corpus.
Yes. So starting early is very important, but starting right now is also quite important. And remaining consistent is what will deliver returns to your retirement corpus. And that's where you will get the benefit of NPS.
So talking about liquidity, as we have mentioned that Lyle have mentioned that we need to be consistent. That is the reason there is some condition on the limitation where you invest in NPS. Otherwise, we when if we take an exit, we will never get a good retirement corpus. So there are certain condition under tier one account why you cannot take an exit before the age of 60. So, what are the liquidity option available for the subscriber in case there is an emergency and a customer want to take an exit before the age of 60?
Yes, so NPS is a long-term product. However, it does give you the option for partial withdrawal, where after 3 years of continuous participation, you can exercise a partial withdrawal option. Right? Here, a maximum of 25% of your total individual contribution, that is the amount that you have voluntarily contributed to your NPS account, can be withdrawn, and you can do this a total of 3 times in the entire tenure of your NPS. Then you always have the options to exit NPS. You can exercise the option of a premature retirement. This can be done after 5 years of continuous participation. Here, a maximum of 20% of your total corpus you can withdraw as lump sum, and the remaining 80% has to be utilized for the purchase of an annuity plan. And then comes the most likely scenario, which is post-retirement. Now it is defined at the age of 60 for an individual subscriber, or as per the retirement age at the corporate if their plan is linked to the corporate umbrella. Here, 60% of the total corpus they can withdraw as lump sum, and this amount is tax-free. A minimum of 40% of the corpus has to be utilized for the purchase of a pension plan. And now, in the unfortunate scenario of death of a subscriber, nominee or legal heir can withdraw the full corpus tax exempt, or they can choose a pension plan.
So, Lyle, just a quick question over here. In case of retirement, when you take an exit, there's an option available called 60% lump sum. But when a subscriber do a lump sum, he need to park the investment, right? So we do have an option called systematic lump sum withdrawal over here. Can you please throw some light on that part?
Yes, so like I mentioned, highlighted before as well, NPS is a feature-laden product. Post-retirement, the option is also there for for a subscriber to opt for systematic lump sum withdrawal. Here, what happens is from your lump sum amount, right? A percentage is what you can fix, and you will get a fixed monthly, half yearly, or yearly amount, right? The remaining is also converted into annuity, that is your 40%. So you will get a fixed lump sum amount through systematic lump sum withdrawal, and you will also get an annuity amount through the pension service provider. Now, this fixed amount, that is 60%, right? Let's assume 1 crore is the total corpus. 60% you have withdrawn as lump sum, and you decide 5 lakh is what I want as a yearly lump sum withdrawal. Now, the remaining 55 lakhs, right, continues to remain invested as per the last selected scheme preference, right? So you will get your returns also generated on that 55 lakhs, plus you will get a lump sum withdrawal. And in addition, when you have selected your annuity plan, you will also get your annuity amount.
So you have talked about an annuity which a subscriber need to take. So basically, annuity means a monthly pension. What are the different plan available for annuity? And also would like to highlight that we have 15 different ASPs available. That is annuity service provider, wherein you need to choose when you do a premature exit or you take a maturity exit. So, like, please quickly explain what are the different annuity plans available.
So now annuity plans, you can broadly classify them into two categories, right? That is return on purchase price or without return on purchase price. Right. So in a return of purchase price scenario, let's take an example. Again, 1 crore is the total corpus, and 60 lakhs has been withdrawn tax free, and 40 lakhs has been allocated for an annuity with return on purchase. Right. So the subscriber, till they are alive, will get an annuity, that is a pension. It can be either monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly. Right. And upon death of the subscriber, the nominee or legal heir, right, will get the return on the purchase amount. That is the 40 lakh amount will be returned to the nominee. Now, the difference between a return on purchase and a without return on purchase is the percentage of annuity that a person will get. The return on purchase plans range between 6.5 to 7%, and without return on purchase price, plans offer a slightly better rate of interest, that is between 7 to 9%. However, upon death of the subscriber, upon demise of the subscriber, no amount is returned to the nominee. And this option that is there has to be selected at the time of retirement or exit only, not when you are opening your NPS account.
Okay. Lyle, do we have an option to, if we are thinking that this is not the correct ASP, do we have an option to change the ASP once selected?
No, no. So once you have selected your ASP, that continues to remain the same.
Okay. So, if you're choosing the ASP, you have to choose it wisely because we don't have an option to switch between the ASP. So at the time of taking an exit, you can just connect with any service provider and get to know more information about the annuity plan because that's
Yes.
what will give you a steady pension to enjoy and live a good retirement life.
Absolutely. So, in fact, a simple Google search on annuity quotes for NPS will direct you to a list of annuity service providers. And with the basic information, such as the corpus amount that you would like to allocate, you will get to see the rates of each annuity service provider. So, this is again freely available in the public domain to check through a simple Google search on annuity quotes.
Okay, so I guess we have explained about the NPS tax benefit and its features and flexibility and how NPS stand out as a great investment tool. So anyone who has not opened the NPS account can go to one nps.hdfcsec.com and open the NPS account. You need to keep the following documents handy and you can open the NPS account within 10 minutes. It's a hassle-free journey available. In case you face any issue, so you can write to our corporate relationships email ID. Our customer care team will revert you, or else you can also call on our customer support number and get the help. Thank you, Lyle, for explaining it beautifully. Let's open the floor for the questions. I'm sure there are questions from the subscriber. So we have a question from Mr. Dinesh Jain. Hi, does tier one investment save tax under new tax regime?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Does tier one investment save tax under new tax regime?
So tier one, yes, if you have opted for the corporate or the employer benefit. Individual contributions don't have tax benefits in the new tax regime.
Next question is, can you please repeat the role of bank in this whole ecosystem?
Yeah, so basically, Deutsche Bank is the one that creates a safety net for the securities that the PFMs have purchased, right? So they are someone that you would probably not interact with in your day-to-day journey. Your main interaction would be with your POP.
So, Lyle, I guess let's explain the tax benefit to the customer one more because I can see most of the questions are related to the tax benefit in old tax regime and new tax regime. Let's explain it again once.
Yes, so in the old tax regime, you get triple tax benefits. First is under section 80 CCD 1B, where you can make a contribution and claim a tax benefit up to 50,000. Uh, in addition to that, that same PRAN number, you can also link it to your corporate umbrella and claim a tax benefit under section 80 CCD 2. Right here, you can get a tax benefit up to 10% of your basic. Right now, if someone has not fulfilled their ATC bucket, they can also invest in NPS and claim that as a deduction. That is up to 1.5 lakhs. Right now, if you have selected or if you have opted for the new tax regime, then you can invest only and only through your employer, which is up to 14% of your basic salary. Right, this is again under section 80 CCD 2. Right, and there is no tax benefit on any individual contributions if you have opted for the new tax regime.
Okay. We have a question from Mr. Sandeep. How to withdraw full amount after 60?
So after 60, full amount can only be withdrawn if your total corpus is 5 lakh rupees or below. Right, if it is above, then the 60-40 rule will be applicable.
Okay. We have question from Mr. Raja. Can I not invest in NPS voluntary in new tax regime?
I do not understand this question.
So I guess you can invest in new tax regime in through voluntary, but you will not get any tax benefit in new tax regime. You will only get the
Yes,
tax benefit under old tax regime.
correct, correct.
We have question from Ms. Ritu. What is the procedure to withdraw the corpus less than 5 lakh post 60?
So basically, through your login itself, you can exercise the option of an exit, and you can select the full amount for withdrawal.
And I'm also mentioning the email ID in the chat box. You can write to nps@hdfcsec.com in case if you want to know the withdrawal procedure or the eligibility. They'll be sharing the process and request you to please mention the PRAN number in the subject line or the body so the team can check and help you on that part. We have question from Mr. Swaminathan. Many questions. Okay. In case of joining new company, how to transfer superannuation of the old company to new company?
So I think this would be better placed where you can have a discussion with your POP. I believe you can drop them an email and then connect with them separately on that.
Deduction. We have a question from Mr. Sanjay. Deduction of 14% in new tax regime can be availed even if employer contributes 10% and balance 4% is funded by employee by virtue of voluntary deduction from salary.
Okay, I'm not clear with this question. Could you repeat
I
that
guess
again?
Mr. Sanjay is trying to ask that the corporate is contributing 10% and 4% he'll be doing a voluntary contribution. So can he avail all 14% tax benefit? So I guess the answer is no. The corporate contribution should be 14% of your basic, which is allowed for tax benefit, not 4% as a voluntary contribution.
Yes, so that has to be routed through your employer, not as an individual or a voluntary contribution.
It is Shivraj HR. Thank you for the detail. I have one query. If subscriber dies, for example, at the age of 65, will his spouse get the pension? Till what age will we get pension in NPS?
Yes, so in terms of the plan that you have selected, if you have opted for it at that time, if it is a joint life annuity, then spouse will also get the same amount of pension. And in case if it is an annuity with ROP, then in that case, the amount will be returned to the nominee.
We have question from Mr. Ankit. Can we change POP in future? Let's say I started with HDFC Sec and then I moved to other POP as my new company don't accept. So NPS is a super portable product. You can change your POP. You can even if you switch from corporate to corporate, wherever your corporate is mapped to our POP, you can shift the plan online. It is possible. We have a number of queries from Mr. Swaminathan. First is assuming the corpus fund is state invested as far as possible, what should be the ECG ratio compared to CNG returns? Factor to be considered while switching from one PFM to another. And how does HDFC PFM perform compared to its peer and the benchmark and the reason for lower ranking?
See, the asset allocation is basis your risk-taking ability, right? Now, some person might want to go for higher equity, some might want to be a bit more conservative and opt for greater allocation towards government securities. So that is very subjective and depends from how you want your investment to grow, right? In terms of the PFM performances, that I believe is available on the HDFC Securities website as well as the NPS Trust. You can view all the pension fund managers and view their performances as well. Uh, so that is again freely available information, and you can base your judgment basis them. You can also write to them if you want some greater insights on uh, uh, where they are investing.
Okay. My company. Just okay. We have question from Srinivas. If I have retired before 60 years of age, can I still contribute to NPS Tier 1 account?
Yes, so minimum of 1,000 rupees needs to be contributed to your account in a financial year to keep it active. However, you are free to increase that to any amount you wish to your tier one account.
We have a question from Ms. Ritu. The corpus when withdrawn would be tax free, right? So whatever withdraw you do after the age of 60 years, 60% of your corpus which you withdraw, that would be tax free. Apart from that, whatever you follow under the tax slab, that will be taxable. Right, Lyle?
Yes,
We have a query from Satish. NPS family income with ROP. Subscriber get annuity for lifetime and in event of death, annuity will be payable to spouse.
correct.
On death of spouse will be payable to dependent mother and dependent father. On death of last annuitant, payment of annuity ceases and 100% of the purchase price will be returned to the surviving children of the subscriber to legal heir. So again, he want an explanation regarding the NPS family income with ROP, how that works.
So family income with ROP is another option that one can activate or opt for when they exit NPS. Here, as a subscriber, I will get pension till I'm alive. Upon my death, my spouse will get pension till she is alive. Upon death of the spouse, dependent mother will get the pension. Upon death of the dependent mother, dependent father will get the pension. Now, upon death of the last annuitant, right, whatever is my corpus amount allocated for annuity will be returned to my appointed nominee.
We have a question from Mr. Sandeep. It is mandatory to take annuity after age of 60. If we don't take annuity, what happens?
So it is not mandatory to take annuity after 60. You can always extend your contributions till the age of 75 years. You can also defer your annuity till the age of 75 years. So that option is always there. But yes, once you have reached 75, then mandatory you will have to take the annuity.
And in case if the corpus value is less than 5 lakh, you can take a withdrawal. In that case, annuity is not
Yes.
mandatory.
Yes.
We have a question from Mr. Harish. I have resigned at the age of 48, and after that, I am not working with my company. Currently, I have my own business. I want to withdraw my corpus. Is it possible?
Yes, you can go for a premature retirement if you are below the age of 60.
So I guess we have been able to answer most of the questions. For any other queries, I'll request you to please write to corporate relationships at the hdfcset.com. I have mentioned the email ID and the customer support number in the chat box. Thank you, Lyle, for sharing the valuable insights on NPS and how it is beneficial.
You're welcome, Akshita. Thank you for inviting Protean team to present on NPS, and thank you to all the attendees as well for your valuable time.
I'll also like to thank all the attendees for joining the session, for taking out time to join the session. We'll be hosting more such session for you in the coming months. Thank you, everyone.